Catherine stood firm, her eyes cold and determined. I've changed my mind. I'm going to marry Lord Dayfried, so give me back my engagement, Nereus. The words fell from her lips like a command, sharp and final. Nereus froze, a mix of confusion and disbelief swirling inside her. She could hardly comprehend what her sister had just said. What does she mean? She wants to be his fiancé again? Her thoughts raced, and she quickly tried to process the sudden shift. Before she could ask another question, their father ordered him with a more shocking declaration. Nereus, you will be engaged to Duke Ian Dayfried in your sister's stead. Nereus's heart skipped a beat. Pardon? Her father continued, barely looking at her as he spoke. Admittedly, the position of Duchess is much too grand for you. But with the Empire at war, it's best to marry quickly. Go, and don't act foolishly. Be a proper— Wait, father! Wasn't that marriage proposal for Catherine? Nereus interrupted, her voice shaking. I've only just come of age. I need to attend the academy soon. Father, you agreed. Father's face twisted with frustration. He slams the table. That's enough. Attending the academy during wartime? Nonsense! He further shouted. Do you think such a marriage proposal comes easily during times like this? It is a duke's proposal. For someone as useless as you, this is an incredible opportunity. You should consider yourself extremely fortunate. He sat back on the table and further said. Besides, the only reason I allowed you to attend the academy was to help with the family business. Now that business is closed, Nereus could feel her world crumbling. She was trembling, her thoughts a jumble of anger and disbelief. What does this mean for me? Her father's tone grew darker. Listen well, Nereus. He glared at her. Our family's situation has been very difficult lately. The Duke, knowing our plight, proposed this marriage. He asked for no dowry. Instead, he offered a large sum to support our endeavor. How can we afford to miss such an opportunity? As you said, the proposal was for Catherine. But the North is far too harsh for her. Do you really want to send your delicate sister to such a place? And isn't this arrangement good for you as well? You've finally become a help to the family instead of a burden. So don't fight this. Just quietly prepare to leave. She couldn't comprehend what was happening, but she could feel the weight of his decision. Without another word, she turned and left, slamming the door behind her as she stood. The maids, who had been quietly watching, began to whisper amongst themselves. Is it true that Lady Nereus received that marriage proposal? Well, considering the rumors about him, it makes sense, one said. Another maid asked. Who is he anyway? Who else? The infamous ghost Duke Lord Dayfried, the first maid answered. I heard he rarely attends high society gatherings. Even when he does, he always wears a strange mask, so no one's seen his face. He exudes such a menacing aura that everyone avoids him. Not only that, he has a terrible relationship with the Emperor. Apparently, the Emperor sent him to the front lines just to get rid of him. To think Lady Nereus is marrying into such a family, poor thing, a maid quickly cautioned. Shh! Don't say that. It's none of our business. We shouldn't get involved. Nereus, who had overheard the gossip, turned back and stormed up to the maids, her voice trembling with tension. What are you doing? Where are you taking my things? The maid waved her hand dismissively. His lordship said you must leave for the north at dawn, so we're packing your things in advance. Nereus stood frozen in shock. So soon? How can this be? I just heard about the engagement. Determined to get answers, Nereus turned on her heels and hurried to find her father once more. Wait, stop. I need to speak with father again. But before she could reach him, Catherine appeared, her voice dripping with condescension. Nereus, what are you so upset about? Nereus's heart sank when she saw her sister. Remember to maintain your poise as a lady. You must set an example as a noble. Then, with a sharp command, Catherine turned to the maids. Leave us for a moment. The maids hesitated, but Catherine's sharp glare left no room for argument. Didn't you hear me? Leave. Yes, my lady. They responded hurriedly and left the room. Catherine's demeanor changed. She was cold, her voice laced with anger. Neris, why do I always have to repeat myself? Now sit here. Why are you making such a fuss? It's quite unlike you. Neris sank into a chair, the weight of the situation suffocating her. I don't understand why I have to get engaged. Didn't Lord Dayfried give you the proposal? She pleaded, her voice full of desperation. Please, Catherine, if you could persuade father. Catherine scoffed, her gaze icy. Neris, are you saying it should be me? You know as well as I that I'm destined to be the flower of high society in the capital. Does that make any sense at all? Neris stammered. But Catherine, I was supposed to attend the academy. I know, but isn't there an academy in the north too? Catherine interrupted. But they don't have a magic department. Neris protested weakly. Catherine raised an eyebrow. Really? Don't tell me you have aspirations of studying magic? Know your place. How could someone as useless as you study magic? Catherine turned away, preparing to leave. Yet here you have the tremendous opportunity to be a duchess. Isn't this a good thing? Or maybe you could charm the Duke. Who knows? He might send you to the academy in the capital if he likes you. Catherine gave a fake smile, adding mockingly. But that might be difficult for someone as plain as you. Well, give it your best shot. Neris's heart shattered, and before she knew it, she was trembling, tears streaming down her face. The weight of her sister's words hit her harder than anything else had. A week later, Neris sat quietly in the horse-drawn carriage. They are in the jungle, she gazing out the window as the landscape passed by. I didn't expect to travel for an entire week. The north is indeed far. She tried to calm herself, shaking off the negative thoughts. No, Neris. Stop with the negative thoughts, Catherine. Finally, they reached the Duke's estate, and Neris stepped out of the carriage. As the gates opened before her, she took a deep breath, her resolve hardening. I will change, starting now. I'll leave behind the quiet, passive old me. From today, I'll live as my new self. On the other side, her sister Catherine started planning. Even though the engagement was forced, I have no intention of backing out. This is my chance out to escape the family who mocked and belittled me. As Neris stepped forward into the palace, a voice from behind a bush caught her attention. How beautiful, the voice said, soft and admiring. I didn't know such pretty flowers bloomed in the north. Neris surprised to see someone watching her. The figure stepped forward, and the person said, Oh, you're finally here. You're quite late, Neris. Her heart skipped when she saw the person's face. The person is Catherine. Neris started talking. Catherine, what are you doing here? Neris asked, her voice a mix of confusion and concern. You must be tired from the long journey, Catherine said with a smile, her tone dripping with a hint of false sweetness. Have a seat, Neris. This will be your room for a while. She gently pushed her sister down onto a bed. Make sure you don't wander around at night, Catherine continued, her gaze sweeping over the room with a satisfied smirk. An impressive room, isn't it? Neris stared at Catherine, a knot of confusion tightening in her chest. Catherine, what are you doing here? She asked, her voice trembling slightly. What do you mean? Catherine replied, her expression feigning innocence. I'm showing you around this magnificent castle. Neris blinked, her confusion deepening. Magnificent? Weren't you the one who said the north was backward? She questioned, her brow furrowing. Why are you suddenly praising this place? Catherine's lips curled into a cold smile. She turned towards Neris. I've changed my mind, she said with a shrug. I'm going to marry Lord Dayfried. So give me back my engagement, Neris. The words hit Neris like a punch to the gut. She froze, her mind scrambling to process what Catherine had just said. What? She murmured in disbelief. But an engagement is not a joke. In times of war, engagements are sealed by magic-infused paper, creating an unbreakable bond. And my name is already on that bond. This engagement can't be, Catherine replied gently. I want to show you something. Keep quiet and watch closely, her voice cutting through the air. Hello, I am Catherine Topana, the betrothed of Duke Ian Dayfried. Did the engagement letter arrive safely? Pardon? The letter has my sister Neris's name on it? Neris's heart plummeted as Catherine spoke those words, the shock settling over her like a heavy blanket. She felt the blood drain from her face. Oh dear, Catherine continued, her voice full of feigned concern. It seems our father made a mistake while inebriated. As the eldest daughter of the Tapana family, I deeply apologize. Oh, and my sister Nereus will be arriving soon. She has been quite anxious since hearing about my engagement during the war. Don't worry. Nereus will return home in 2 days. The words hung in the air, each one a dagger to Nereus's heart. Catherine's casual cruelty stung. Catherine leaned back slightly, as if pleased with herself. That's what I explained to the butler yesterday. So I'd appreciate it if you followed along with. Nereus's eyes burned with anger, and she could no longer hold it in. Do you think the Duke will believe such a ridiculous story? Our family will be the laughingstock of high society. The Duke will never break off the engagement for such a reason. Catherine's eyes flared with anger. And I won't let our family become a subject of ridicule. Before Nereus could respond, Catherine grabbed her by the arm, pulling her closer. Besides, she hissed, you didn't even want this engagement. Nereus recoiled, hurt flashing through her. That's why I'm asking for your help. Catherine spat, her voice rising in frustration. Whose fault do you think this is? If I could, I'd turn back time. But I can't. All I have is now. So just help me. That place was meant to be mine. Nereus stood frozen, shocked by the intensity of her sister's outburst. Catherine, what happened? Why are you acting like this all of a sudden? Catherine shoved her back, her face red with fury. Sorry. I'm just so overwhelmed by this situation. She trailed off, her voice softening, though the tension remained. But Nereus, trust me when I say listening to me will be for the best. Nereus, her own heart aching with a mixture of confusion and sadness, shook her head. I got Father's permission for this and the academy enrollment, so you just need to return home. Catherine's gaze turned cold once more as she moved toward the door. That is, unless... Her voice dropped to a dangerous whisper. You have ambitions of becoming the Duchess? I trust that's not the case, dear sister? Nereus recoiled, the weight of Catherine's words sinking in. She had thought it was all over. Even after leaving home, it seemed her family wouldn't let her go. Would she ever be free from them? Her heart felt heavy as she muttered to herself. Forget it. I don't want to think about it right now. It's just too exhausting. Meanwhile, in the palace, Lord Dayfried entered with an air of command. Magic swirled around him as he placed his foot on the ground, a soft light emanating from it as he walked forward. Welcome back. Norman, the butler, greeted, bowing slightly. Your Grace. The boy stopped, turning to face him. Is there a problem, Norman? Norman's expression shifted to one of concern. There's an issue with the engagement arranged with the Tapana family, he said, his voice low. It seems the engagement letter contained the wrong name. Lord Dayfried sighed as he moved to his desk, picking up the letter and scanning it. Fiancé, Nereus Tapana. This engagement was a drunken mistake, and the eldest daughter originally accepted the engagement. He tossed the letter aside, his face hardening. Well, it doesn't matter who it is. What a pathetic family. He muttered under his breath, clearly irritated. A knock came at the door, snapping him from his thoughts. What is that? He wondered aloud, narrowing his eyes. It doesn't sound like Norman's knock. No other servants should be around. Could it be the young ladies of the Tapana family? Norman surely told them not to wander the castle at night. What an ill-mannered lot. He grabbed his mask and made his way to the door, opening it to reveal a young woman standing on the threshold. As the door swung open, the girl quickly turned, hiding her face. Let's take a look at the faces of this pathetic family's offspring, he said, his voice dripping with disdain. What are you doing there? He asked, noticing the girl's tense, frightened stance. Excuse me. The girl, Nereus, stood frozen, her face pale and wide-eyed. The boy observed her carefully, his confusion deepening. Something's not right here. He moved his hand in front of Nereus's face, turning her to face him. What are you? She remained silent, her expression distant. The boy's eyes widened in realization. Oh. Is she sleepwalking? She came all the way up to the 4th floor in her sleep? He looked at her with a mix of surprise and amusement. It's impressive she made it without getting hurt. But getting her back to her room is the problem. I have no choice, he sighed before gently lifting her into his arms. Pardon me, he muttered. I'm just taking you to your room, so stay still. As he carried her, Neris slowly began to stir, but she still remained quiet. Are you Neris? He asked, his voice low and almost amused. Yes, she whispered, her voice soft and distant, answering even in your sleep. I'm honored, the boy said with a small smirk. Are you my fiancé? Neris nodded weakly. Yes. Lord Dayfried paused, his expression unreadable. Your sister said this engagement was a mistake. Neris remained silent, and Lord Dayfried chuckled darkly. Not answering difficult questions, I see. As he gently placed Neris back onto her bed, he looked down at her, an almost amused glint in his eyes. How clever! Good night, Neris. And with that, he left her to sleep. Next day in the morning, Neris woke up and reminding, Neris, where am I? She remembered. Right, I arrived at the Duke's castle yesterday. And my sister? Why did she suddenly change her mind? She didn't want to come to the north at all. No, it doesn't matter why. Neris suddenly became angry, and she decided, Neris, I'm not going back home. Ever. I realized something the day I left home. As long as I belonged to House Topana, my life would forever be controlled by my family. I would always be a tool that could be discarded at any time. She lifted the jug, pour water on her head, and that's the last thing I want. I don't care what happens to the engagement. I won't act according to my family's wishes ever again. After that, she dressed herself well and entered in the dining hall for breakfast with Norman. Catherine was already on the dining table and said, Catherine, you're late, Neris. Even if you're tired from the long journey, you should be respectful. She gave a fake smile. This is not our home, but the castle of my fiancé, Lord Dayfried. Make sure to be on time for breakfast from now on. Neris came and sit on chair, but I suppose you'll be leaving tomorrow anyway. It's such a shame. I wish we could stay in the north together longer. Good luck with your academy enrollment once you're Neris. Actually, I'm going to enroll in the academy here in the north. After hearing these words from Neris, Catherine could not control her anger and tried to beat Neris. Neris, after you told me about the Northern Academy, I looked into it right away. She further said, It seems they've produced many renowned scholars. Knowing such a place is nearby made me realize something, that I want to study at this excellent place. I'll be staying here longer, so don't be too sad, sister. Catherine, didn't you want to study magic? That's why you insisted on the capital's academy. I only just managed to convince father for you. Was your passion for magic so fickle? Don't back down. You expected this. Speak confidently, Neris trembling. Neris, my thoughts. My beliefs. My passion for magic will never fade, so I plan to study a variety of things while I'm here. She happily said, Turns out, the Northern Academy has many subjects I love. Isn't the North a wonderful place, Catherine? After hearing all this, Catherine became angry, and she shouted, Catherine, what on earth are you talking about? Norman interrupted both and said, Norman, you are absolutely right. Both girls glared at Norman. Norman, I'm terribly sorry for interrupting. I am Norman, the butler. Hearing Lady Topana's words, I felt a surge of pride for the North and couldn't help myself. Please forgive my intrusion. Neris, it's all right, Master Norman, said with smile. Norman, please, just call me Norman, Lady Topana. Catherine in anger. Catherine, I will. Please be at ease around me too, Norman. She began thinking, what? Why is she acting so confident all of a sudden? And why is that butler being so kind to her? At this rate, she'll take everything from me again. No. This time, it's mine. It's my place. I won't let it be taken from me like in my miserable past life. Flashback. My name is Catherine Topana. I've always been perfect. I had the charm to be loved by everyone. People adored me, calling me Lady Topana, a cute blossom. But I wasn't the only Lady Topana, Neris Topana, my younger sister, who was also Lady Topana, just like me. The moment she was born, I knew instantly. A girl more dreadful than any ghost or beast. Did she think I wouldn't realize she was born to take what's mine? I'll never let you take it. Never, father. Poetry recitation contest winner, Catherine Topana. Ha ha. Truly magnificent, Catherine, Catherine. I did my best for our family. Father, father, how thoughtful you are. Such a wonderful daughter deserves a gift. The father of Bo's sister was very happy she gives something. Here, a magical artifact imbued with special power. It will protect you in times of danger, so always keep it with you. Catherine, wow. Thank you, father. She became very happy. Father, I'm so happy my eldest daughter is already a great help to me. Suddenly he became angry, but Neris, on the other hand. Father, do you have nothing to show? Neris hiding her marks sheet. Neris, well. In the last math test, I scored 100, father. I want to participate in the capital's flower arrangement competition. Catherine, may I? Interrupted them. Father, OH. Absolutely. If you win first place, you'll be the center of attention when you debut in high society. Indeed, my eldest daughter has a keen eye. Catherine, what are you staring at so stupidly? A perfect score on the math test? Ha ha. Were you trying to get praise for this? How pathetic. Neris, Catherine, give it back. Catherine, let me give you some advice, little sister. No matter how many first places you get with this, you'll always be useless. Remember that. Catherine, shoo her gift from father, see that? How amazing I am. No matter how much you covet what's mine, you'll never have it. I'll make sure you understand that, so just you wait and see. But despite my resolve, I ended up losing everything to Neris. My misfortune began with my engagement to Lord de Fried. I, Catherine Topana, was to be his fiancé. I was utterly dumbfounded by his sudden proposal. I had grown into a proper lady, a well-known figure in the capital's high society. And now, I was to marry the so-called Ghost Duke, surrounded by bizarre rumors? She think it is ridiculous. They say he fell out of the king's favor and was sent to the front lines. To appease the king, he sought to ally with a noble family from the capital, intending to prove himself on the battlefield. Catherine gave letter to her father. After reading letter, her father spoke. Catherine, what do you make of this? I am deeply troubled by it myself, she replied to her father. Indeed, considering the Duke's wealth, it's hard to decline. We can't pass up such a fortune. But I can't get engaged. What should I do? Suddenly an idea came into her mind. I know. I can have Neris take my place. My pathetic sibling who always loses to me. This is the perfect chance to get rid of that eyesore completely. Besides, Lord de Fried might die in the upcoming war with the Western Kingdom. They say he barely survived his last battle due to a grievous injury. We must secure his fortune before he dies. We'll push for the marriage contract as soon as the Duke returns. If he dies, Neris, as his wife, will inherit everything. And with her under our control, his entire fortune could be ours. What a golden opportunity! After telling her entire plan to her father, she asked, Father, how about arranging this engagement with Neris? Her father replied, With that troublesome girl? Catherine say, Yes, it will benefit our family greatly. Trust me. Just follow my plan. After making this plan, Catherine became very happy. She said to herself, Now that the engagement and Neris are dealt with, nothing stands in my way. My future is bright indeed. But that decision turned out to be my greatest mistake. We have won the war. The streets were filled with celebration as people shouted, Hooray! Hooray! Long live the kingdom of Gideon! In recognition of Duke Ian de Fried's heroic deeds leading us to victory, he is awarded the Empire's first Medal of Honor. Now that our kingdom has become an empire, the Emperor wishes to maintain a good relationship with the Duke. They said, So we can expect to see the Duke and Duchess frequently in high society. At a party, someone said to Catherine, That's wonderful, Lady Topana. Your sister, the Duchess de Fried, must be thrilled, Catherine replied. Indeed. I am truly happy for her. Presenting Duke Ian de Fried and Duchess Neris de Fried. The applause echoed through the hall. but Catherine's heart shattered. Her mind raced. No, it can't be. Is that really Lord Dayfried and Nearest? She stared in disbelief. The Duke was nothing like the rumors. He was incredibly handsome, like a sculpture. And Nearest. She was so beautiful, so elegant, overflowing with grace. Catherine couldn't bear it, and started to leave the party, her heart sinking. The guests continued praising them. They are truly the stars of this ball. But Catherine couldn't listen anymore. She rushed out of the hall, her thoughts consumed with rage and jealousy. Catherine was very upset, she think. It was supposed to be mine. That perfect man, the envy of everyone. That position, admired and coveted by all. It was mine. I was the rightful owner. Nearest took everything from me. Having lost everything to her sister, Catherine fell into despair. She kept replaying that shocking day in her mind, drowning herself in alcohol every night. Catherine was unable to bear it. On the other hand, her father secretly accepted a large sum to marry her off to an old marquis from the West. Realizing this too late, she fell into despair once again. Catherine said to herself, "If things continue, I'll be manipulated by this insidious man forever. I must escape." She ran, her voice shaking as she screamed her sister's name. Nearest. Catherine put all her mistakes on Nearest and thought, "It's all because of that devil of a sister. That greedy wench ruined my life. I will never let her get away with it." In a fit of fury, Catherine jumped off a mountain, but then, something strange happened. Suddenly she realized her mistake. She said to herself, "What's happening? Is this how I die? No! It can't end like this. If only I had another chance." Her voice quivered as she used the magical artifact that her father had given her. She shouted, "Give me a chance to reclaim what was taken from me by my dreadful sister. Just one more chance." The magical artifact glowed, saving her life. With its power, she reached her room, breathing heavily. Catherine was very angry. How dare she? She already stole what was mine in the past life. Now she dares to defy me? Catherine sat in her room, her mind swirling in confusion and anger. Nearest was never this arrogant before. Why was she suddenly acting so differently? Could she have realized that I've returned? Catherine sneered to herself. Ha! That's impossible. How could that dull-witted girl know my secret? She's just acting a bit differently for whatever reason. It was thanks to this lovely magical artifact that I returned. I still have an advantage over Nearest. This time, I will have it all. Everything is mine. I will never let Nearest take anything from me. Nearest returned to her room, sinking onto her bed, her body aching. She started talking to herself. Ha! I'm so tired. I didn't expect the luncheon to be so exhausting. Is it because I defied my sister for the first time? This is bad. Until the Duke returns, I'll have to keep facing her. She further asked to herself, "Can I hold out until then?" A knock on the door interrupted her thoughts. "Lady Nearest, it's Emma. I've come to deliver a message from Lady Catherine." It was a surprise for Nearest, she asked. "From my sister?" Startled as she's still angry about the luncheon. Emma handed her a letter. Nearest took it with a raised brow. Emma replied, "It's all in this letter. Please read it now and I will deliver your response." What could she have written? Thinking this, Nearest opened the letter and began reading. "To my sister Nearest, today at lunch, I noticed your table manners and social etiquette were a mess. To correct your shortcomings, join me for breakfast tomorrow. You must learn now so that when you meet my fiancé, the Duke, I won't be so embarrassed. So, be sure to come for breakfast tomorrow. Your concerned sister." Nearest became wonder. What's going on? Why would she suddenly act like this? Nearest standing on her room door, holding the letter from Catherine in her hands, her mind swirling in frustration. Is this simply because I talked back a little? You are always so consistent, sister, she thought bitterly. A wave of memories washed over her, memories from their childhood. She remembered the countless times when Catherine had punished her for the smallest of things. Ever since we were young, if I didn't listen to you for even a moment, you would immediately run to our parents and get me into trouble, Nearest recalled. You would drag me to gatherings and make me mess up on purpose, turning me into a laughingstock. And in the end, unable to endure those situations, I always had to apologize to you, even when I did nothing wrong. Nearest became very upset. I thought it was because I was so pathetic, she thought bitterly. Looking back, it was all your bullying. Still, she had hoped that this time away from home, would be different. I thought you wouldn't torment me here, Nearest mused, shaking her head in disbelief. How naive of me. But I refuse to stand by and take it any more. I won't, Nearest said with determination to Emma, who had been silently waiting. Emma, tell my sister I will definitely be at breakfast tomorrow, Nearest ordered. And tell her that I'm looking forward to it. I'd be most thrilled to receive her etiquette lessons. Meanwhile, Lord Dayfried, his thoughts turned to the Top Anna sisters. It seems the Top Anna ladies are not on good terms. A family quarrel in an empty castle, he muttered with a chuckle. How utterly pathetic. Norman, standing nearby, nodded in agreement. With all due respect, Your Grace, it seems the younger Lady Top Anna enjoys our estate very much. Moreover, she mentioned taking Carlisle Academy's entrance exam. From what I heard, she has a great interest in magic studies. Perhaps when you formally return you could. Lord Dayfried abruptly interrupted him, a slight edge in his voice. Norman, he sighed, his fingers tapping on the desk. This engagement was purely out of necessity, nothing more. Don't put too much significance into it. Yes, Your Grace. I understand, Norman replied, bowing respectfully. Lord Dayfried go to his desk where papers awaited his attention. But just as he started writing, he paused. A sound reached his ears, footsteps. Slow, deliberate. I know that sound. He rose from his chair, walking toward the door. As he opened it, a faint smile tugged at his lips. It's you again, Nearest, he muttered under his breath. I had a feeling it was you. To his surprise, Nearest had wandered into the hall, sleepwalking. To think you'd come here even in your sleep. Surely, you won't be like this the entire time you're here. That would be troublesome. He couldn't help but chuckle to himself. Ha, we'll worry about that later. Let's get you to your room first. He gently lifted her in his arms, and made his way back to her room. As he set her down on the bed, he stood beside it, staring down at her for a moment. It's a relief you didn't wake up midway, he thought, shaking his head. You really are a handful, my lady. If this keeps happening, it will be awkward for both of us. I should tell Norman before I return to the battlefield. He turned to leave, but just as he did, Nearest's hand shot out and grabbed his arm. Ha! Lord Dayfried started, his heart racing. Is she awake? He turned and looked at her. No, she's not. She grabbed me in her sleep. That startled me. His mind raced. Wait. It was pure luck that she didn't wake while I brought her to her room. What if she wakes up now? I'd have some explaining to do. That would be awkward indeed, he sighed softly, deciding to stay still. I'll just wait. She might move in her sleep again. If she doesn't and wakes up in the morning, I'll disappear right then. She'll think it was all a dream. As he stood there, watching Nearest sleep, she began to mumble in her sleep. Her words made his heart tighten. No, please. Don't do this. Please. I'm sorry. Forgive me. Catherine, she whispered, her voice tinged with sorrow. She started weeping softly in her sleep. I'm sorry. I was wrong, Catherine. Lord Dayfried stood frozen for a moment, his heart aching. Why is she begging like that? Could it be because of the fight Norman mentioned earlier? I thought it was just a typical sibling quarrel. He frowned, his hand. Calm down, Nearest. It's just me here right now. You don't need to apologize. It's okay, you didn't do anything wrong. So don't be afraid. Sleep well, Nearest. With that, he left the room. Days passed. Lord Dayfried donned his war suit. Hartman said, Welcome back, Commander. Lord Dayfried asked. Hartman, do you have a report on the enemy's status from last night? Hartman gave a quick salute. No significant movements to report, sir. Good. Then let's start the strategy meeting now. Lord Dayfried replied, his tone sharp, focused. Nearest stood in front of the mirror, adjusting her outfit. Am I dressed up enough? Or should I add something else? She thought to herself, scrutinizing her appearance. It's been a while since I dressed myself. I'm not sure if I did a good job. Emma had originally been assigned to her as a lady's maid, but as soon as Catherine had appeared at the castle, Emma had immediately gone to serve her sister. It stung, but Nearest tried to suppress the bitterness. Emma was Catherine's maid at home, so I understand why she went with her. No, I should stop thinking negatively, she steeled herself. You're meeting Catherine soon. Stay calm, she told herself. She headed toward the door. I should try to imagine how she'll react, she thought as she reached for the door, but as she opened it, she was met with an unexpected crash. Ow! What on earth did I bump into? It was Emma, having been in such a hurry that she hadn't seen the door opening. Excuse me, are you okay? Nearest asked, concerned. Emma, clearly embarrassed, scrambled to stand. I'm sorry, my lady. I didn't see where I was going. Nearest shook her head, her voice soft but firm. Why are you apologizing? You're the one who fell, not me. Are you hurt? Are you in pain? Can you stand? Emma smiled sheepishly. I'm fine. Really, that's a relief, Nearest replied, her face relaxing. She noticed some cloth had fallen to the ground and bent down to pick it up. Emma, quick to react, was already jumping to help. Oh! My lady, please let me do it! Emma exclaimed, trying to reach for the cloth. It's okay, Nearest said with a gentle smile. It was my fault you fell. Besides, we'll clear it much faster if we work together. Emma was taken aback by Nearest's kind and considerate words. She had expected a different reaction. Thank you, my lady, Nearest smiled warmly. Not to worry. My, this is certainly a lot of laundry. Isn't it too heavy to carry by yourself? Emma laughed softly. Oh, it's fine. I usually carry much heavier things. Really? Like what? Nearest asked, genuinely curious. Sometimes I move heavy food supplies in the kitchen, or I have to rearrange furniture. So this isn't heavy at all. That's impressive, Nearest said. Are all maids as strong as you? Emma chuckled. Maybe I'm just unique. Thank you for your help, my lady. And I apologize again for startling you earlier. No, I should be the one apologizing, Nearest said, her smile growing. Take care. After parting ways with Emma, Nearest made her way to the dining hall for breakfast. When she entered the dining hall, Catherine was already seated, a keen smile on her face. Late again today, Nearest, she said, her voice dripping with mockery. If you made a promise, you should keep it. How can you keep your sister waiting like this? Punctuality is very important in high society. So try to be on time next time. Nearest couldn't help but notice the way Catherine was dressed. Luxurious clothing, adorned with expensive jewelry that shimmered in the light. Catherine, where did you get those accessories and clothes? I haven't seen them before. Catherine leaned back, her smile smug. Oh, these? The Duke's household prepared them for me. She gestured to her jewelry and clothing. One can't transport a lot of luggage during a war, but when I mentioned I was going to arrive by a transportation circle, they prepared these for me. They told me I was free to use them as an esteemed guest. Aren't they kind? Nearest was taken aback. Catherine's extravagant appearance seemed to contradict the very words she had just spoken. Could Catherine have lost her mind? Catherine noticed Nearest's gaze and raised an eyebrow. Is there something on my face, Nearest? Nearest quickly shook her head, snapping out of her thoughts. Oh, it's nothing. It's very rude to stare like that. Catherine chided, her tone icy. Such a lapse of etiquette warrants a polite apology. Otherwise, expect your reputation in high society to suffer. I'm worried about you, Nearest. How is it that you're going to enroll in the Northern Academy with such a lack of basic manners? A word of advice, choose your department wisely, and don't be flaky once you've decided. Nearest stared at her sister, feeling the sting of her words. As expected, etiquette lessons were just an excuse. She just wanted to mock me and make me feel embarrassed over breakfast. My sister hasn't changed at all. But I have. I won't let her get to me anymore. Nearest took a deep breath, straightening her posture. I appreciate your concern, Catherine, but you don't need to worry. I'm going to the Northern Academy to improve on my shortcomings. As I mentioned yesterday, the Academy here has an array of great departments. It's truly the perfect place for me, don't you think? Catherine, her expression softening slightly, nodded. Well, that's good to hear. Do you have a particular department in mind? Yes, Nearest replied enthusiastically. I'm planning to take the entrance exam for the accounting department. I'm very confident in mathematics. Norman, who had been listening from the sidelines, couldn't help but interject. Oh, Lady Nearest, are you good with numbers? Yes, I am, Nearest replied, a proud smile on her face. I studied very hard using all sorts of theoretical books at home. That's impressive, Norman said, nodding approvingly. In that case, I must tell you this. Our Duke offers generous support for talented individuals. Nearest blinked, her curiosity piqued. Support for talented individuals. Yes, Norman continued. His Grace is very much dedicated to discovering and nurturing talent for the development of the duchy. Those who receive his patronage go on to serve as officials for the North, utilizing their skills. Please keep this in mind. Nearest felt a surge of excitement at Norman's words. Generous support. Yes, this is it, Norman said, grinning. Nearest stood up, her heart racing. Catherine, I need to get going. Catherine blinked in surprise. What? Wait. You haven't even eaten yet. Nearest, a smile tugging at her lips, waved a hand dismissively. Something urgent came up. Please enjoy lunch and dinner alone today. She turned toward Norman, her voice bright. Thank you for the information, Norman. Norman gave her a warm smile. I'll be cheering for you, Lady Nearest. With a final nod, Nearest left the room. On the other side, Lord Dayfried was making war strategies with his soldier in the tent. The Western Kingdom's forces are on the move again, Lord Dayfried declared, his voice low but filled with urgency. We have no time to waste. We must strike first. Now is the perfect moment, while they are weakened. A voice from the shadows, the commander of the army, spoke up. We must prepare for an attack. How? Lord Dayfried interrupted sharply, his gaze fixed on the commander, who stood in the flickering light of the tent. Our supplies haven't been replenished yet, and our mages haven't fully recovered from the last battle, the commander explained, his voice tinged with frustration. How do you propose we attack in this state? Lord Dayfried's eyes narrowed as the room fell into a heavy silence. Explain yourself well, he further asked. Vice Commander, when will the supplies be ready? In 2 days, sir, the voice commander replied, his voice soft but resigned. Until then, strengthen surveillance on the enemy and gather the knights for battle training, Lord Dayfried ordered. Make sure they're ready to fight at a moment's notice. With a grunt, the voice commander nodded, and they both left the tent. Ha, so much whining, the voice commander muttered as they walked side by side. Everyone seems antsier after winning the last battle, even though it's hard, Lord Dayfried sighed, a weary look crossing his face. The war has dragged on longer than expected. It's natural to be restless. Most haven't been home for quite a while. Well, that's true. The commander's voice softened as he glanced at Lord Dayfried. Are you going to stay in the barracks alone again tonight? Yes, I have things to take care of, Lord Dayfried replied, his tone distant. Are you sure it's wise to be alone so much? The voice commander asked. Think about how I have to fend off the medics and officers every night. Lord Dayfried chuckled lightly. Of course, I think about it. Thanks to my capable vice commander, I can be alone in peace. I'm always grateful, the commander smirked. If only you'd stop talking. By the way, the voice commander continued, how's the engagement going? I heard the daughter from that family is quite famous in the capital. Have you seen her? What is she like? Lord Dayfried's expression softened as he thought for a moment. What is she like? I've only seen her while she was sleeping, so I don't really know what kind of person she is. I wonder what she's like when she's awake. As smart yet unpredictable as when she sleeps? Or maybe she was like the sky. Like the sky? The commander asked, puzzled. Yes, Lord Dayfried said, his voice quiet but sure. Completely unpredictable. with sky-blue eyes. Meanwhile, in the palace, Neris, scribbling down the final details of her application for admission to the academy. Applied to this academy for magic and the future of this nation. All right, this should be enough for my application. Neris paused, frustrated. Why did I only find out about this now? She replied to herself. Generous support. If the Duke acknowledges my talent, I can attend the academy on my own merits. And if I graduate as a top student with his patronage, I might become an official in the north for the Dayfried family. This is my chance. Suddenly, she, lost in thought for a moment. Wait a minute. If that happens, I'll have to see Catherine around, won't I? She'll be the Duchess by then. I never cared about this engagement in the first place, but my sister always wanted the title. Would she let me be? Finally, she decided. Whatever. I'll deal with it when the time comes. A knock interrupted her musings. Lady Neris, if it's not too much trouble, may we have a word? Ah, yes. Just a moment. Neris opened the door to find Norman standing there, his usual calm demeanor betraying a hint of purpose in his eyes. What is it, Norman? She asked. Allow me to show you to your new room, my lady. The two walked down the ornate hallways, and as Neris stepped into her new quarters, her breath caught in her throat. The room was a masterpiece, a stunning contrast of black and blue, shimmering with an almost magical glow. Wow! What an incredibly luxurious room! Neris murmured, her eyes wide with amazement. It's even warmer than my previous one. Did they use magic stones for heating the furniture? Or is it? Norman chuckled softly. Do you like it? Oh, yes! I love it! Neris smiled, genuinely touched. Thank you so much for giving me such wonderful accommodation. But Norman, why did you change my room? The previous one was already excellent. Embarrassingly, we discovered too late that there was a heating issue in your original quarters. Norman explained, his tone apologetic. To make up for any discomfort caused by my oversight, we decided to move you to a better room. Please enjoy it. I was never uncomfortable. So don't worry too much, Norman. Neris reassured him with a smile. Thank you for saying that. Just then, a voice interrupted them. Mr. Norman, I brought lunch. Ah, come in. Norman gestured as the maid entered, her presence marking a new chapter for Neris. Lady Neris, allow me to formally introduce myself, the maid said, bowing. My name is Jean, and I've been assigned as your personal maid. I'm so happy, Jean, Neris said warmly, pleased by the friendly introduction. The pleasure is all mine, my lady, Jean replied, her smile infectious. Do you two know each other already? Norman asked, glancing between them. Yes, Neris answered, a slight laugh escaping her. In fact, Jean almost got hurt because of my mistake. It was technically my fault, my lady, Jean said with a chuckle. Nonsense, Neris protested with a playful shake of her head. The fault was all mine. Ha ha, I see. Jean grinned, clearly enjoying the light-hearted moment. Jean, let's prepare the meal now, Norman said, motioning toward the small table. Yes, sir, Jean replied obediently. As Neris looked around the room, she noticed a door at the far end that she hadn't seen before. Where does that door lead? She asked, curious. Norman hesitated for a moment before answering. It's a decorative door. It's been here since the mansion was first built. Some places have doors just for decoration. This place is fascinating in so many ways. Back at the barracks, Lord Dayfried sat quietly on the couch, his mind wandering as he skimmed through an old book. His thoughts were far from the pages, his gaze distant. It's better not to wake a sleepwalker but to gently guide them back to bed, he muttered under his breath, reflecting on past decisions. But we've already had several conversations. I guess I shouldn't have done that. A familiar sound broke his reverie. Footsteps. The soft shuffle of someone moving in their sleep. He knew what was happening. Without hesitation, he stood and moved toward the door, opening it gently. As expected, Neris was walking through the hallway, her eyes closed in sleep, her steps uncertain. Are you prone to anxiety, Neris? Lord Dayfried asked softly, his voice calm but knowing. The next morning. Jean! Neris called out, her voice tinged with excitement. Can I really use such a magnificent library? Jean, the ever-present maid, smiled warmly at her. Of course, Lady Neris. The Duke has instructed us to keep it open for guests at all times. So please feel free to use it as you wish. Neris's heart fluttered at the thought. The people here truly care about their guests, she murmured, the warmth of their hospitality almost overwhelming. Norman, who had entered just behind her, nodded in agreement. Not only did they offer me a better room because of issues with the previous one, but they also provided a dedicated maid and new dresses. Neris couldn't help but smile at the kindness they had received. I've never been treated like this in my life. Surely, such warm hospitality reflects the Duke's excellent character. He's truly remarkable. Her voice softened, more contemplative now. As a guest of the Duke's estate, I must express my gratitude to him, Neris asked. Jean, the Duke won't be back for a while, will he? Jean, who had been quietly observing Neris, nodded thoughtfully. Yes, the Duke's actions speak volumes about his character. However, Lady Neris, the Duke won't be back for a while. The situation with the Western Kingdom isn't good. They say another battle is imminent, and his return will depend on the outcome of that battle. Before Neris could respond, a soft voice interrupted their conversation. Excuse me, Lady Neris, Emma said, bowing respectfully. Neris turned, a pleasant smile gracing her face. Emma. What is it? Lady Catherine wishes to have tea with you, Emma replied, her tone as gentle as always. Of course, Neris said. She followed Emma and they arrived at the lush garden where Catherine was already waiting. Catherine. Honestly, you've embarrassed me, Neris. You left so abruptly yesterday. What kept you so busy that you didn't show your face all day? She leaned back, a teasing smile on her lips. From now on, let's always have breakfast together as sisters. Won't it be good to show the Duke's people our harmonious family? Neris, still processing Catherine's words, blinked in confusion. Harmonious, Catherine. Yes, our family always dined together happily. Neris's gaze dropped, her heart heavy with memories. Everyone except for me, she thought, the ache in her chest growing with the thought. Whenever I joined family meals, I faced their scorn and neglect. So I always had to eat alone in my room. At one point, I even thought I was adopted. She blinked rapidly, pushing the memories aside. All right. I'll join you for breakfast every day, as you wish. Catherine's eyes gleamed. Good. That's a wise decision, Neris, feeling the weight of the conversation pressing down on her. If that's all, may I leave now? I'm quite busy, a playful glint still in Catherine's mind. Then let me give you your present now. Emma placed the teapot that was full with tea leaves. Neris's brows furrowed. Tea leaves, Catherine's voice was soft and measured. It's a tea that helps with sleep. I was worried since you have trouble sleeping at night. Neris, taken aback by the offer, frowned. What are you talking about? I sleep well, but Catherine's smile remained, all too sweet. But you've been sleepwalking. Neris froze. 2 years ago, Father said your sleepwalking was completely cured, didn't he? Catherine's expression shifted, her smile tightening. Neris, that was a lie for your sake. Father said it to reassure you, but your condition wasn't cured. Neris's mind began to race, the words sinking in deeper than she wanted to admit. Catherine's next words were a calculated strike. Let's see. When did your haunted illness first appear? I remember. You were wearing a cute dress just like today. Suddenly, Neris was pulled into the distant past, a painful memory flooding her thoughts. 7 years ago, on her 13th birthday, she had been standing in the grand hall of the family estate, surrounded by well-wishers. Happy birthday, Lady Topana! They cheered in unison. Happy birthday, Lady Topana! Came the echoes of admiration, the murmurs of the crowd blending together. I didn't know the Topana family had such a beautiful second daughter. Indeed, you look perfect in that pretty dress. You are truly lovely, Lady Topana, but someone is not happy at that place. How on earth does that hopeless girl share the same name as me? Catherine's voice dripped with jealousy, her eyes narrowed in fury. And she dares to smile in front of me? How should I teach that presumptuous brat a lesson? Catherine's eyes glinted as she came up with an idea to shame her sister. Oh, Neris! Come over and greet my friends. Catherine called out with feigned sweetness. Neris had beamed, rushing toward Catherine's friends. Nice to meet you. I am Neris Tapana. Thank you for coming too. Suddenly, Catherine had moved, placing her foot in front of Neris's, causing her to stumble and fall to the floor. The glass of wine in one of Catherine's friend's hands toppled and spilled, splattering the front of Neris's beautiful dress. Oh my, Neris! Are you all right? Catherine asked, her voice syrupy sweet, though there was no concern in her eyes. Neris's mother shrieked from the side. See, you should have been careful. Why rush over like that? Neris had felt the sting of embarrassment, as murmurs spread through the crowd. Are you all right, Lady Tapana? Oh dear, your dress is ruined. But you're covered in cherry juice, so I can hardly help you. Someone laughed, the words laced with mockery. The Tapana family sure knows how to entertain. Neris's heart shattered as her mother scolded her. What kind of disgraceful display is this? I worked hard to prepare your birthday party, and you bring shame to our house. How much more do you intend to disappoint me, mother? Neris whispered, her voice trembling. Crushed, Neris had fled the party, retreating to a quiet corner of the palace, tears streaking down her face. A maid had approached her, her voice filled with concern. Oh my, Lady Neris! What are you doing here at this hour? Why are you banging your head? The maid asked, alarmed, but Neris had remained silent, the tears falling freely now, her mind a tangled mess of emotions. The flashback faded as Catherine's voice pierced through her thoughts once more. Since then, you started wandering around the house while asleep. Father tried everything to cure your sleepwalking. Catherine turned to Emma, asking her to confirm. Emma, what did you say you saw? Emma, standing just behind Catherine, nodded. Just a few months ago, I clearly saw Lady Neris wandering around at night. Catherine smiled, her eyes gleaming with satisfaction. You heard that right? So make sure to drink this tea every night before bed. It wouldn't do to break our gracious host's rules. Neris's heart sank, her mind racing with a terrifying thought. If what Catherine said is true, I might have been wandering around the Duke's estate at night these past few days. The realization hit her like a ton of bricks. If the Duke's people saw me, they would surely report my sleepwalking to him. And if that happens, I won't be able to become a northern official. I won't even get into the academy. A sense of urgency gripped her. I need to act fast. I need to find out if Catherine is right about my sleepwalking. The stakes were higher than ever, and Neris had no time to waste.